Tonight, you will turn off a light, and for 1 second, your body may act like something is still outside. Not because you believe in monsters, not because you are childish, because darkness does something very simple. It takes information away. In daylight, your eyes give the brain a map: chair, door, floor, empty corner. Everything has a place. Everything has an edge. The room feels known because the brain can check it. But when the lights go off, the map loses pieces. The chair is still there. The door is still there. The corner is probably still empty, but now the brain cannot prove it as quickly, and the brain does not like blank spaces. It would rather guess too early than find out too late. That is the uncomfortable part. Fear is not always a sign that something is there. Sometimes fear is what happens when the brain cannot confirm that nothing is there. That sounds dramatic in a bedroom. Your door is locked. Your phone is nearby. There is probably a street light leaking through the window. But for most of human history, night was not a bedroom. Night was open ground, thin shelter, cold air, small fire, and a world that did not stop moving when the sun disappeared. Humans are visual animals. We survive by looking. We read faces. We track movement. We notice edges, paths, hands, teeth, cliffs, smoke, strangers, and the shape of the ground under our feet. But our night vision is not impressive. We are not owls. We are not cats. When light disappears, our strongest sense becomes weaker. And when vision weakens, the rest of the body starts negotiating with uncertainty. A floor creak becomes a signal. A coat on a chair becomes a shape. A shadow becomes a question. The same room has not changed very much, but your access to the room has changed. This is why darkness feels different from emptiness. An empty white room can feel boring. An empty dark room can feel occupied. Not because the dark contains more things, because it hides whether things are there. For an ancient human, that difference mattered. Darkness could hide a predator. It could hide a hole in the ground. It could hide a stranger. It could hide distance from the group. And being separated from the group was its own kind of danger. The safest place was rarely just a place. It was a circle. The circle of other people. The circle of firelight. The circle where faces could be seen, sounds could be explained, and the edge of danger was at least visible. Outside that circle, the world became unfinished. And an unfinished world is exactly where fear is useful. This is not just a poetic idea. The body really can respond differently in darkness. In experiments, darkness has been shown to increase the acoustic startle response. In plain words, the same sudden sound can hit harder when the lights are off. That makes sense. If you cannot see clearly, sound becomes more important, but it also becomes less certain. A small sound could be nothing, or it could be the first piece of something you have not seen yet. Your body does not wait politely for the full explanation. It prepares. Muscles tighten, attention narrows. The room becomes a listening problem. Light changes that problem. In one brain imaging study, researchers found that light could suppress activity in the amygdala, a brain region involved in fear and threat. That does not mean a lamp is magic. It means light is not only decoration. Light gives the nervous system evidence. A switch does not just brighten the wall, it lets the brain check the wall. It turns unknown edges back into known edges. It turns a sound back into a floorboard. It turns a shape back into a coat. This is why the first humans who controlled fire did not just gain warmth, they changed the emotional shape of night. Fire made a small area readable. It showed faces. It pushed the dark outward. It made a boundary between here and everything outside. Inside the firelight, people could repair tools, watch each other, tell stories, notice movement at the edge. Outside the firelight, the world did not vanish. It waited. Much later came candles, oil lamps, gas lamps, streetlights, and finally the electric switch. Each one made the night smaller. Each one moved the edge of uncertainty farther away, but none of them erased the old system. That is why a safe house can still feel different after midnight. The walls may be solid, the door may be locked, the room may be completely ordinary, but the corner is still unreadable, and unreadable is where fear begins. Children feel this openly. They ask for a nightlight. They call someone into the room. They point at the closet. Adults learn to explain it away. They say it is nothing. They say they are being ridiculous. They roll over and try to sleep. But the body often answers before the explanation arrives. Reason says there is no danger. The old system says, then show me. That is the real reason darkness can feel watched. It is not that your brain has found a watcher. It is that your brain has found a place where a watcher could hide. The difference is small. At night, it can feel enormous. Modern life hides how strange this is. You can press a switch and remove an ancient condition in less than a second. For most humans who ever lived, That would have been impossible. They could feed a fire, carry a torch, wait for sunrise, stay close to the group, but they could not make the whole room obey. You can, and that convenience makes the fear seem irrational. The room changed in one click, so why did your heart change with it? Because your body is older than the switch. It was shaped in places where darkness was not a mood. It was a limit on vision, a limit on movement, a limit on certainty. So the next time a dark hallway feels wrong, the important question is not whether something is there. Most of the time, nothing is. The important question is why the body cares before you know. It cares because blank space used to matter. It cares because a false alarm was cheaper than a missed signal. It cares because your eyes ask for data, and fear answers before the data arrives. The dark is not empty to your brain. It is unfinished information. And every time you reach for a switch, you are not just turning on a bulb. You are closing an ancient question.